Okay, welcome to JC Connect. In the previous class, we were discussing about the importance of dissolved oxygen. Um, in that dissolved oxygen, uh, we have covered the main significance of the dissolved oxygen, why it is required, and how much it should be there in drinking water. If it is more, what will happen? If it is very less, what will happen? So, um, that all the things we have discussed, and the major sources of the dissolved oxygen is the either from it is from the atmosphere, and how we'll get into the atmosphere, it is from the photosynthetic reactions. Um, some of the algae as well as the phytoplanktons produces high level of oxygen, and the saturation of oxygen can occur during the daytime, and during night time it is very less. Then the solubility of oxygen in water, it depends on the temperature and other factors. As I already discussed that it is inversely proportional to the temperature and other factors also. It depends on the um, some of the turbulence which is going to happen in the surface water during the flow of water, and the presence of oxygen is also essential for the survival of the aquatic life also. The rapid fall of this dissolved oxygen in river water is one of the first indication of the pollution. The overall understanding of this dissolved oxygen is the importance. If the DO level goes below 4 or 5 milligram per liter, so then we can say that it is um, um, polluted. Okay, even if it is goes below 2, then it is 100% polluted. Even if it is 5 to 6, it is moderately, it is about to get polluted. That is what the indication. And the of course oxygen content in water is required um, up to 6 to 7 milligram per liter, and it should not be more also. It should not be too more than 8 9, because it is more corrosive in nature. That always we have to see that. Okay. So then um, as it is necessary that a minimum 4 to 5 milligram per liter is required. Minimum 4 to 5 milligram per liter is required for the survival of the aquatic life. So higher the value of DO, definitely it causes the corrosion of iron, that I already explained previous class. Fe plus oxygen, it is nothing but Fe2O3. It is nothing but is corrosion process. The formation of iron oxide. Formation of iron oxide is nothing but a corrosion process. It is nothing but a corrosion process. Okay, so that is definitely it is going to happen in some of the industries also. That always we have to target it. And drinking water should reach in DO concentration for good taste. Of course, if DO is more there, it will good taste. But always we have to see that it should not exceed the 10 milligram per liter. As I already said that at 0 degree centigrade, the saturation DO DO is, saturation DO is 14.2 milligram per liter. Okay. So, and this DO test is used to evaluate the pollution strength of domestic as well as the industrial waste. See, as I already explained, if it 4 point, you are not supposed to drink it, because I already said that 0 degrees centigrade is almost cold water. Cold water is not recommended for drinking water. Okay. Um, what you can do is that you can drink hot water, but you are not supposed to drink too much hot water also. Hot water, I already said that DO is very less. Somewhere around it is 3 to 4 milligram per liter. What you have to do is that you have to boil it, then wait for some time so that whatever the atmospheric oxygen is there, it will penetrate as it going to decrease the temperature. Okay, that's how exactly it is going to happen. See, what will happen is that this is surface water. When you start boiling it, okay, so whatever the oxygen content is there, it will go. Oxygen content will go when you start boiling it. So then stop boiling. Keep it for about half an hour to 1 hour. Half an hour to 1 hour. Then if you wait it for 1 hour to half an hour, definitely the whatever the atmospheric oxygen, again it will penetrate. Okay, then there will be increase in the dissolved oxygen. Okay, so normally 6 to 7 milligram per liter. If it is there in water, then you can definitely have to you can drink it. Okay, this is the main significance. Then how exactly you are going to determine in the laboratory? So in the laboratory, we are using the Winkler's modified method of analysis of oxygen. Okay, the method is called the Winkler's method of determination. Okay, so it is analysis of the oxygen present in the water. Of course, the method, I'll tell you how, I'll explain it how exactly we are going to do it. So what we'll do is that we'll take the um, BOD bottle. Okay, in this BOD bottle, of which is of capacity 300 ml. Okay, then it will be of this shape normally. Okay, which is of 300 ml capacity. Then what you have to do is that you have to fill this uh, BOD bottle uh, with water. Where in which water you are measuring the DO. For example, if you are measuring the uh, tap water DO, for example, if you are measuring the tap water DO, then fill fill that fill that with the tap water without 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 creating without creating bubbles. Tap water, and also fill that without creating bubbles. Then how we have to avoid the creating the bubbles? So what you have to do is that to collect the tap water in one bucket. Okay, so then slowly immerse that bottle, whatever the bottle is there, and don't create the bubbles while filling it. The reason behind without creating the bubbles is that once you create the bubble means you won't get exact uh, dissolved oxygen that is present in water. Sometimes when you create the bubbles, whatever the atmospheric oxygen is there, that is going to penetrate into water. So then exact which you are targeting so that you won't get it. Okay. Then once you fill it, for that you have to add 2 ml of alkali iodide azide, then 2 ml of MnSO4. 2 ml of MnSO4. So once you add this, it is whatever the BOD bottle weight where you added it, it is going to create the flocks. Once the flocks are observed, okay, once the flocks are observed, so then after adding this 2 ml of alkali iodide and 2 ml of MnSO4, so mix it thoroughly. Okay, so once you mix it, the flocks formation is going to happen. Then wait wait till the flocks are going to settle at the bottom. See, once the flocks are settled, okay, you have to dissolve that flocks using concentrated H2SO4. You have to dissolve that flux using concentrated H2SO4. Once you add the concentrated H2SO4, so then mix it well so that uh, no flux should exist. No flux should exist uh, in that BOD bottle. So the flux are over, once the flux are over or flux are removed, so then from that take 200 ml of sample from from BOD bottle from BOD bottle. So once you collected it, then transfer to conical flask. Transfer to conical flask. So then titrate it against titrate it against sodium thiosulfate, that is Na2S2O3, till till you get till you get a pale yellow. Okay, till you get pale yellow. Then add starch. And add starch, you will get blue color, blue color. Add starch, you will get blue color. So then again titrate it against Na2S2O3, Na2S2O3 till you get colorless. Till you get colorless. Okay. So once you get the colorless, note down that volume of note down that volume. Note down that volume. Okay. Then calculate the DO. Calculate the DO using V into N into 8 into 1000 divided by ml of sample taken. ml of sample taken. So V is, that is, you note down that volume, whatever the volume consumed till you get the colorless. Till you get the colorless, that you note down. Okay. Then normality, uh, that is V. Normality, if you are if suppose if you used for sodium thiosulfate Na2S2O3, if you have used 0.025 normal, okay, then substitute the value here 0.025 normal, then into 8000 divided by 200 ml, sample. 200 ml sample. TO in milligram per liter. So that you will get it. So then, one more thing, um, the standardization procedure is there. Okay, standardization of sodium thiosulfate. Why you have to standardize? The reason behind, uh, before doing, say whatever I told, the you have to take the BOD bottle and you have to add the MnSO4 and you have to add the alkali iodide. Then again you have to add the H2SO4. So before conducting this experiment, you have to standardize it. You have to standardize the sodium thiosulfate solution. See why you have to standardize. The reason behind, assume that you have prepared 0.025 normal of Na2S2O3. Whether you have prepared 0.025 or whether it is very less, you have prepared very less. See what will happen is that if you prepare freshly, normally you will prepare it correctly. Suppose if you keep it for long time, whatever the concentration is there, 0.025, sometimes it may get reduced to 0.02 or it may go down to 0.15. Okay, 0.015 also sometimes it will go, it will become lesser. You will think that you have used 0.025, but in actual when you are using it, it will be very less. So once it is very less, then in calculations you are using 0.025, but in actual it will be very less. That thing only you have to use it to check that whether the concentration of the sodium thiosulfate is decreased or not. Okay, for that we have to go for standardization of sodium thiosulfate solution. Okay, so then uh, how to do it? Okay, so for that what you have to do is that you have to take 10 ml of you have to take 10 ml of 10 ml of K2Cr2O7, then 2 ml of 2N HCl you have to add, then 1 ml of Ka powder or one spatula. This is a spoon, you can call it as a spoon of spatula. You have to add it. Then normally the solution will turns to brown, and titrate against the sodium thiosulfate solution till you get the pale yellow color. Okay, then add 1.5 ml of starch solution, that the color turns to blue, and continue the titration till you get it will become colorless. Okay, then calculate the normality of sodium thiosulfate using the formula called the N1 N1 V1 is equal to N2 V2. So N1 is for the K2Cr2O7, and this is for the um, for Na2S2O3. So this is normality of K2Cr2O7 that you already know. Then how much you took? The 10 ml of K2Cr2O7 you took. Then normality, you have to calculate it. Okay, then volume, how much it is consumed. Okay, volume, how much it is consumed. Okay, with that you have to um, calculate it what exactly the actual Na2 um, normality which you took. Okay, so then this only I have explained the um, determination of dissolved oxygen. So the sample, this collect the sample in a BOD bottle up to the neck. So take care to avoid any air bubbles while collecting. To this add 1 ml of MnSO4 solution followed by 1 ml of alkali iodide solution, holding pipette tips just above the liquid surface. Stopper the bottle carefully to exclude air bubbles and mix it by inverting it for 25 to 30 minutes. Allow the precipitate to settle down to leave a clear supernet above the manganese hydroxide flocks. So add 1 to 2 ml of concentrated sulfuric acid. So restopper and mix immediately by inverting the bottle till the precipitate dissolve. To titrate the 210 ml, I told you to take 200 ml, 200 ml. No problem, you can take 201 ml or 200. But whatever you take it, that you divide it in a formula. That's it. Okay. So then titrated against 0.025 normality, that is Na2S2O3 till the pale yellow color. You'll get it. Then add 1 ml of starch. So continue the titration till the dark blue color becomes colorless. So note down that, and this is the end point. Then calculate the dissolved oxygen using that formula I already told. So DO is equal to V into N into 8 into 1000 divided by 201 or 200 ml sample. How much you took, that much you have to divide it. And whatever you will get it, that will be milligram per liter. And very important, this normalized should be the actual normality. Okay, this is actual normality. Okay, then this is about the dissolved oxygen. Just go through once. Okay, if anything is there, we'll have the discussion in the next class. Okay, maybe in the next class I will go with the chlorides.